Growing Up in a Complex World is a paper by Alma, Culén, and Coughlin. And it has to do with how to include into environments like this a bit more serious topics that make children a part of conversations on the future at their level. The result is a framework for design and evaluation of speculative installations for children. Please come and listen to the full talk. Bye.